Alright, hello and welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be reacting to a video by, and I just saw this in my recommended and I thought this would be quite fun, MitchManix. A video by MitchManix, obviously. All of MitchManix's stuff, link to everything will be in the description below. Please do go support the original creator. As I always say, if you haven't seen their video yet, go watch their video first, then come back here. Guild Wars 2, very popular MMO. I played it in 2012. At the time, I had a terrible PC, and I managed to play it at about 13 FPS. I was desperate to play it. I only had an Xbox 360 at the time, I think. Yeah, and a terrible laptop. I was desperate to try and play it, but I just couldn't do it. So I played it for a bit, and then obviously just gave up. Kind of the same thing that happened with the Old Republic, or the Star Wars MMO as well. Tried to play it when it first came out, but I just didn't have the computer to do it. Gave up, and then I kind of forgot about it. But I know that Guild Wars 2 is actually very popular. It's considered to be one of the most casual, friendly MMOs out there. It still has a big player base, and I actually remember doing some community polls about a while ago about what MMOs do you play aside from FF14, which is the main one we play here. And it was Guild Wars 2 was up there. So I think it'd be interesting to have a look at why in 2022 this game is still so prominent and so loved within the MMO community. This is a game that I would be interested in trying, giving it a go, playing it, seeing what the story's like, reacting to that. If you want to see that, leave a like on the video, subscribe, and leave a comment as well. Let me know. But otherwise, let's get into Guild Wars 2 in 2022. Is ridiculous.
Guild Wars 2, a free-to-play MMORPG set in the fantasy world of Tyria, released to universal acclaim back in 2012.
That's when I played it.
Has marched
that ship looks incredible. Since when was that there?
With 3 major expansions for the game, the most recent being this
3,
year
okay.
with End of Dragons. With the game's 10-year anniversary just around the corner,
it's been out for that long.
God,
I feel old.
What the game has to offer nearly a decade after release.
Okay.
Exploring its world and getting to know some of its inhabitants on this epic journey. And some already so excited they forgot for a moment that they even have legs. My name's MitchManix, and this is my journey looking into Guild Wars 2 and why it quite frankly is ridiculous.
Okay. Ridiculous is an interesting word to use.
With the character creator, where Guild Wars 2 sports a fairly middling amount of customization options when compared to its competitors. One thing that is clear
better than some
is how interesting its playable races are. The powerful looking Char bringing up PTSD from a certain ocean-based survival game. The Sylvari for anyone looking to cosplay as anime Bellsprout. And of course the far less exotic human that is so inclined you can customize to take on the world's evil as a giant armored baby. But none of these races will cut it. As for this grand adventure, we will need a true legend. And with that I proudly introduce the hero of this story, Disco Gizmo. The most revered of the Azura race.
There always has to be a small little race.
Disco and pure evil. With our selections confirmed, Guild Wars 2 sets up the starter zone and our journey with a cutscene showcasing not only its unique art style, but also early glimpses into the character within its narrative.
What the hell?
Whatever the imbeciles outside the city have broken, I'll fix. And make my name doing so.
Taking our first steps into the world, we are thrust into the character story and tasked with controlling...
Interesting point. Obviously, I kind of vaguely remember what the starting zones were like back in 2012. I wonder if they've changed, have they been updated? I assume they would have been
technology that
by
the
now.
Azura race pride themselves on crafting, immediately enhanced by the game's spoken dialogue.
Yeah, I remember that.
Zoja's rarely wrong.
Oh, the protagonist speaking as well. That is different. Definitely different.
I was expecting something more like... Yep, that's it. It transpires that the detestable group The Inquest is to blame for the chaos after tampering with the golems, and Disco Gizmo wastes no time in tracking down the Inquest prototype at the heart of the problem to take it down, using the game's highly mobile flavor of tab-targeting combat.
Yeah, the combat, I remember enjoying it, even though it was at 14 FPS.
On the subject of our pint-sized Necro, what stood out for me immediately during this was how fluid and well-crafted the animations for playable characters are. Running, dodging, and jumping movement doing well at bolstering the game's visual experience so far after release. And they are all dead. The initial story missions concluded.
I did actually crush them.
Exploring the starter zone and getting involved in its opportunities for gear and XP. An experience for me at least that was incredibly enjoyable. Guild Wars 2, rather than drip-feeding the same drawn-out fetch quests as a single mode of early leveling, presents the player with a number of options, even in its first hour. I began helping one of the scientists with their experiments in a more traditional early quest format, then spotted a marker atop a nearby building, and worked my way through a jumping puzzle up to it for more experience and a great look at the land, followed by an NPC actually coming up and getting my attention.
Maybe you.
Recruiting and escorting me to a now newly available public event within the starting zone for even more rewards, all leading to a very immersive MMO experience early on, exploring the land for points of interest and visitors while meeting and working alongside the game's inhabitants, with some clearly not being able to contain their laughter at the sight of Gizmo's ears migrating into his amazing hairdo whenever he gets excited.
It does look pretty weird.
Journeying further into the game's tarnished coast continent, we stumble upon more of the Azura's captivating settlements and stop off.
I mean, it looks very nice, even for a game that's old. But that is that old. It looks good.
A crowd of players can be seen stampeding past, and without a second thought, the decision is made to join in whatever shenanigans is occurring.
Is it like a hunt or something?
On a seamlessly transitioning chain of world events, requiring our newly joined band of adventurers to complete a number of objectives before marching and gliding down to the next. All
just world events.
Boss fight, with
this was like the first. I'm pretty sure I'm right in thinking that this was like the first MMO, or at least one of the very first MMOs, the world events that actually were dynamic in the zone. Now, like every MMO does that now.
Staring at his map to find out where he had ended up to participate in.
Frog legs, anyone? No? All right, then it's best we depart.
It may not seem like a lot, but having little quips from the NPCs like that, whilst working through the world's events, really places them within the game's world, and makes the experience feel less like simply jumping on a train for some quick XP, and more like actual events, playing out across the game's landscapes. Oh, and of course, Giz had to go back and get that visitor for a good look at the zone, with a number of levels obtained, and for some reason pretending like he had just won an Academy Award.
I'd like to thank my crew and my college instructors.
We returned to our compatriots to continue the story,
having
getting a chance to meet
humorous characters is such a big,
and to get another flashback
such a big difference.
Terrifying adversary.
Jesus, calm down!
God's sake!
Calling for help. The boat is too small.
Someone's calling for help.
More money. Go.
Fuck off!
Soon after following the story, Gizmo was released into the wider world, getting a look at some of the truly awe-inspiring design of Guild Wars 2's largest cities. And
it looks fantastic, man.
Visiting Ratu Sum for a chance to kick off the professions and explore the city's great use of verticality. As well as a little later, the grand city of Lion's Arch, a truly amazing location, brimming with character and the ingenious idea to provide roller skates to the city's guards.
Why is that? Why does that keep happening?
Story missions play out in chapters every 10 levels, with the idea being
that's cool.
Exploring the land and exploiting the various opportunities for experience in between.
That's what. That's one thing I really like, and that's what that you kind of. How can I describe this? As some of you will know, is that I actually, when I talked about this in previous videos, is obviously I play FF14 a lot now, but it took me a long time to get into FF14, and I did try it originally when I think the 2015 or something like that. I had it on PlayStation 4, and one of the things I really liked about playing it then, although I got to like level 30 and then stopped playing. I don't really know why I stopped playing, but I did. But one thing I enjoyed about it back then, and there was no expansions out at the time, was that you had to level up to get the story. So the content was the reward for, doing what you needed to do. So you leveled up and then you got the next chapter of the story, and it seems like what it's doing like here. Obviously it's different in FF14 now because they've boosted the XP and cut a load of the fluff out. But that's essentially what I'm trying to say, is that I like that you have to earn the story. Does that make sense? Okay.
After taking in the sights of Lion's Arch, I thought about putting the game to the test when it comes to having freedom when leveling. So decided, instead of going just north of my previous leveling zone, to instead make the journey all the way over to Snowdon's Drifts, one of the other level 15 to 25 zones, across the land, but located much further away from my Azura beginnings.
How'd you get there then?
Not just that, but I decided to go on foot, instead of locating what I imagine would be a quick portal to a location nearby, partially due to wanting to have an MMO exploration feeling, and partially because I am an idiot. With the latter being confirmed almost immediately, as while wandering through one of the higher level zones in between me and my destination, I somehow managed to get set up in a deadly ambush by a small child.
Damn you, Cricket!
But the world will have to throw more than that at Disco Gizmo before he gives up. And with a bit of luck, a very kind roaming player, and with some deduction, I made it to the snow-tipped slopes of the Snowdon
Must have taken
Trace,
ages.
venturing out, leveling up, and trying not to get mowed down by some particularly speedy player mounts.
Whoa. What the hell?
Now fully released out into the open world, a whole host of activities available to keep things varied and interesting as I explored and leveled. I couldn't help but feel almost unable to process why it had taken me so long to really experience Guild Wars 2. When it comes to leveling specifically, I personally find that within a great experience, something is almost always sacrificed. What is incredibly impressive is that Guild Wars 2 manages to keep things so interesting, injecting zones with group events seamlessly flowing into each other with completionist and exploration-based activities, while at the same time keeping an entertaining and personal feeling narrative interweaving it all together.
Again, I'm fairly certain that Guild Wars 2 was one of the first MMOs to introduce like the completionist aspect to the zones. If I remember rightly, I could be wrong, but again, that's now something that pretty much all MMOs do, and other games as well.
Together. Who is it? Oh, okay.
What?
Oh my god! Throw a fucking disco ball at it! And you too can help cleanse the land of impromptu oversized arachnids.
What's her lovely
by dropping a like on the video if you enjoy it,
person.
and letting me know your thoughts down in the comments.
You should do it.
Be sure to subscribe for the channel for a whole host more RPG greatness. It's free and really helps out small YouTubers like me.
Yeah, do
Since
it.
we had breezed
And me
past
as
level
well.
10, we
And me
unlocked the
too.
ability to
I'm
swap
smaller than
between
him.
two sets of weapons during combat. For those that are not aware, Guild Wars 2 grants the player a set of abilities based on the current weapon equipped. For example,
yes, I did know
Gizmo's
this.
knife, when held in the main hand, grants access to health recovery and necromancer abilities, in contrast to his staff abilities that have more of a focus on area of effect attacks. Not every
that's
class
good.
can use every weapon, but that doesn't stop the game.
A lot of
from providing
customization
huge
in the
range
builds
terms
you
of
can do, I
builds and
guess.
playstyles, especially when coupled
so
with
yes.
the class abilities. Bar swapping will be familiar to anyone who has played the Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh yeah, I played a bit of Elder Scrolls.
Indeed, and adds yet another layer to its deep and satisfying combat mechanics. With the plan in place to make a voyage to a wayward zone once we'd out-leveled the current, we set about working our way through the levels, with the mind to explore as much of the land as possible in the process, making sure to make a trip back each 10 levels to continue the personal storyline, leading to my first experience with the game's first-person camera feature. Oh, cool, you can go first person.
Weird.
Yes, look,
Oh my god. Maybe you're not supposed to do that.
Never speak of this again. Upon reaching level 40, the game's first dungeons were unlocked, and Gizmo, leaving no stone unturned, rounded up a group using the game's party finder tools. Dungeons are available in 2 difficulty modes, story and explorable, with the latter available after completing the story mode option, and cleverly covers the aftermath of the story mode, featuring branching paths to take, increased difficulty, and currency to purchase unique armor and weapons modeled according to the theme of the dungeon.
That's very cool.
The dungeons were great for the most part, with some amazing looking locations, good lengths, and rewards both in XP and gear to justify seeking them out. The only real downside comes when attempting a first playthrough with the mind to play out all the cutscenes covering the story of the instance. In my experience, there wasn't exactly a huge number of groups being formed for
that is one thing that I immediately thought when he said that there's a story mode and explore mode. It's like, how many new players are actually running through? How long have you got to wait to do these dungeons? That is one of the unfortunate things. I mean, it's nice that they separate it so that, you know, people are just going back to grind up whatever, don't have to go sit for the cutscenes, but also probably makes it quite difficult for new players, so hopefully that's not too much of an issue.
Dungeon runs, so encountered a bit of a mixed bag. Players would hang around for first-timers to enjoy the story, or steamroll ahead, clearing most of it by themselves, even when forming a group with a story focus stated.
That's interesting, because it depends on the culture of the game, I suppose, because it's kind of like an unwritten rule in FF14 that if there's a person watching the cutscene, you just wait. Like, but then again, FF14 is obviously a very heavily story-based game, so that's obviously a massive part of it. So I don't know.
I can't help but wish that the game featured more than the 9 included, but as a whole, the Dungeon Suite is another example.
I mean, it looks incredible, but
another staple of a great MMORPG and doing it well. With yet another activity to keep us busy, it was on through the levels. Venturing across the land every level range, picking up hero points to spend on abilities and stat points, which are given out after completing their respective short open world challenges, while taking time to dive back into the story, which continued to expand in scale, as well as its cast of interesting characters.
You can dye the armor,
Oh my
right?
god, that is disturbing.
What? How did you just run on his face?
Journey taking me across snowy fields to enchanted forests, dank swamps to mechanical cities, whilst constantly jumping in and out of.
I do love the art style, I have to say.
I can't express
68.
how much of a
How long
breath
did
of
that
fresh air
take?
it was leveling in this game, with so much variety in its gameplay, some truly outstanding environmental design, complemented beautifully by the game's soundtrack and ambient sounds that allow the player to really sink into its experience and to get that feeling of escapism within the game's world that I personally find more and more in short supply. You, sir, are just too fabulous to die. After finally reaching the base game cap of 80, it was time to grab some epic gear upgrades, expanding my class specialization, Reaper, as well of course kit Gizmo out with a heart-stopping new drip.
What do they call it? Is it like do you move into a different system like they do at the end of Elder Scrolls when you kind of do the, I can't remember what it's called now, the Paragon thing? I can't remember.
Ready to dive into some of the game's more late-game orientated offerings. Raiding was first up, after making a trip to the Aerodrome, a location within Lion's Arch, specifically used for players looking for groups. Raiding being split into 2 channels, one for training and one for experienced players.
Okay.
I got a chance to see what it has to offer, and to my delight found that the game really doesn't pull any punches with its raiding content, keeping things challenging to maximize that sense of achievement from the late game outings. Next up was a game mode that some state as being Guild Wars 2's finest accomplishment, that being its truly massive world versus world PvP game mode, blending both player versus player and player versus environment elements.
I remember playing this when, I mean, the short amount that I was able to, and really enjoying the world PvP, or the large scale PvP, I should say.
Besieging keeps and towers.
Yeah, the siege stuff was great. What the?
Battling over resource caps and completing PvE type content to level up.
There's so much. There's so much. I'm actually really like
as far as
surprised.
Activities go, I can see this mode adding endless amounts of hours to those that get a
It has great PvP. I remember that. It has really, really good PvP.
With such huge and diverse maps on offer.
Yes,
One thing I will recommend though for anyone looking to jump in would be to get a mount first, as for more times than not, poor Gizmo here was left in the dust as his allies
How'd you get one?
Battle. Now
That's
I know
the question.
what you may be thinking, but why in 2022 is Guild Wars 2 ridiculous? I'll tell you why. At nearly every turn during my time with the game, Guild Wars 2 handed me an experience that felt worthwhile, incredibly entertaining, and rich with features and atmosphere. Now I'm always mindful to look out for elements where a game doesn't quite deliver to give the best report possible, and Guild Wars 2's ability to consistently provide such great experiences across the board is quite frankly ridiculous. And that's without mentioning the fact that the game doesn't have any enforced subscription model, and as far as I could see, isn't littered with pay-to-win microtransactions.
I don't think it is at all. I think you just buy to play or something like that. If you wanted to buy it.
Has it in spades. If you want one of the best playgrounds to roam around with friends for PvP or PvE, then this game nails that. If you are a completionist with a thirst to check every cliff edge and find every hidden away location, this game will not only give you that in insane amounts, but also reward you massively for doing it. Which is an important point, that so many options for leveling especially give out worthwhile amounts of experience, not leading to players feeling forced to pick one or the other, so to truly set out to do what they want to do.
They can just do what you want.
The elements that Guild Wars 2 does well is staggering. Bringing me back again, seeing that this game doesn't get more attention for this is ridiculous to me. The game even features both explorable underwater zones, as well as having its own combat system built around it, because of course it does. To again give the game
of course it does.
With areas to explore and activities to get involved in. The game, of course, has its shortcomings, such as its dated visuals that I'm sure will turn away those who
the art style's nice,
become
but
more accustomed to the more visually appealing
the textures are not
lack of
good.
player housing, and its crafting that, although ticking all the boxes by most standards, does lack the more advanced dynamics that games such as Final Fantasy XIV have brought to the table with its profession system.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard when to match what FF14's done in terms of crafting. Because it's, I mean, it's a whole job, it's a whole class, it's a whole story. So, but as long as it's interesting enough.
That if you are an MMO fan and you are yet to try Guild Wars 2, then I highly recommend you give the game a try.
Kind of.
As for me, it without a doubt sits as one of the best experiences the genre has to offer. So much so that if enough of you beautiful people like the video, then we may have to continue Disco Gizmo's journey into a certain newly discovered dragon-toting expansion.
It's a new
But as for
expansion.
right now, I can't help but feel that I may stick around a while in the world of Telia.
Is it
As even 10 years
the
later,
base game
it is one
is
hell of a
free,
place
and then
to
you
be.
buy the expansions, I suppose, which is completely. It's a great business model, very consumer friendly, very consumer friendly. That wow. And I like the watercolor kind of art style it's always had. I mean, yeah, he knows how to sell it, doesn't he? Wow.
Thank you so much for watching.
You're very
Hope you
welcome,
played
my
Guild
friend.
Wars 2. As usual, I'm keen to get your thoughts down in the comments. I want to give a shout out to the channel members for kindly supporting the channel and helping me keep as much high
Okay,
quality
I think
content
that's
coming as
probably
possible.
pretty much it. But obviously,
Enjoy.
do this. Subscribe to MitchManix. Great video. Yeah, support him. Support his videos. As I said towards the end, he did a great job at selling it to me. I mean, I haven't, as I said, I haven't played this since 2012 when it first came out. Never thought about playing it again, really. And then I just kind of, this video popped in my recommended, and I thought, maybe it is time to have a look at some other universes. Although, obviously, I've played a bit of, I'm playing Kingdom Hearts now on the channel, playing some RPGs and stuff. But maybe it's time to have a look at some other MMOs, alongside Final Fantasy XIV, of course. We're never going to stop playing now. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of... It's crazy to me how a lot of these MMOs that have been around for a long time, like FF14, like Guild Wars 2, like the Old Republic, am I missing any others? Oh, RuneScape, I suppose. All kind of sat under the radar for such a long time because obviously there was an absolute dominance in the MMO market from WoW. And now, only 10 years later, people are beginning to kind of, I mean, not people are beginning, I mean, I am, and I suppose a few other people are beginning to kind of wake up to the idea of that there is other things there. And that's fantastic. I'd be interested to see what happens with the Guild Wars 2, because I know obviously they've released this new expansion and stuff. But obviously, although the game still has a population, will there be a Guild Wars 3? I mean, the game does look old. Like, there's no way to kind of... I mean, obviously the lighting and stuff and the art style and the art team have done a fantastic job, but it doesn't stop from the game looking old. Like, it just does. And graphics are an important thing, but it does make me wonder if they will continue making expansions or they will make a new game. I don't know. I don't know if that's been talked about at all, but yes. I haven't tried or played Guild Wars 2 since 2012. It has been 10 years. I'm wondering maybe if it's time to have a journey into this universe. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would you be interested in seeing me delve into Guild Wars 2? Let me know. And if you do want that, obviously like the video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. And if you want it, we'll do it. 100%. We'll do it on stream, we'll do it on Twitch, we'll do it, and all the videos will come here as well. So obviously make sure you subscribe for that. But anyway, I don't have anything else to add, I don't think. Thank you all so much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.